With the latest Tarkov update, the G36 has been officially added to the game. So now, owning an airsoft G36 enables you to LARP as your favorite Tarkov operator, because we all know none of us are getting the real thing. I happen to have a G&G G36, so how does G&G's version of the G36 stack up, and is it good enough for you to LARP with? We all know the G36 is the standard issue rifle of the German army for now, and we all know a few other countries use it as well. That's not what I'm talking about in this video. In an airsoft context, almost everyone who is somewhat experienced in airsoft has used or at least heard of the G&G G36. These guns are very popular as a beginner gun, and have a reputation for having pretty good internals for their price. The G&G G36 is also a very popular rental gun at many fields. So many people use the G&G G36 as their first gun. However, once beginners have played a few games and decide they want to buy their own gun, they look to what the experienced players use, or what's in their favorite movie or video game. And 9 times out of 10, that leads to them buying an M4 variant. There's nothing inherently wrong with this, but it leads to people seeing G36s in airsoft as a beginner gun that people upgrade from. This is not helped by the fact that the majority of high-end airsoft brands don't make a G36. Just before the ARP9 craze that changed the airsoft industry, G&G created their take on the G36C. It was, and remains somewhat slept on, though it's still manufactured to this day. So how does their take on the G36 stack up to other airsoft G36s, and other modern AEGs in general? Just like the real one, almost all the externals on the G36 are polymer. I want to make this clear. This is perhaps the best polymer I've felt on any airsoft gun. The polymer is very thick, and does not bend easily, and the plastic itself has a nice matte black finish instead of a cheaper looking shiny finish. It makes the gun feel higher quality, because it is. Nothing wobbles on the gun. Everything feels very solid, and it's just one more detail to this gun that makes it feel high-end. Starting from the front, we have a G36 flash hider. It looks the part, and is light enough to not add any unnecessary weight to the front. The handguard is where the battery is normally stored. Compared to other G36s, the handguard is made out of very thick polymer. There's definitely some weight to this gun, but not to an excessive degree. One downside, however, is that there isn't much space in the handguard for a battery. You'll need either a nunchuck style or small stick type battery to fit in. I've elected to store my battery in a fake PEC box instead, and wire it through the handguard. Of note, the venting holes will not fit a Dean's connector, so I've cut out a section at the bottom for my wires. The handguard itself is quite comfortable. It comes with rails on the 3, 6, and 9 positions, which are removable. I've removed the side ones and have attached a foregrip, but without any rails, you can comfortably do a thumb over board grip. Of note, these rails are actually rounded out, so they aren't sharp as hell and feel nice to grab. The gun, of course, has the iconic G36 carry handle. It comes with standard G36 iron sights that aren't bad to use. It feels solid, and is long enough to mount whatever you want. I have my PEC battery box and hollow sun optic mounted. As many of you know, high-mounted optics like the Unity Fast Mount and the OG AR-15 carry handle are coming back in style. If you like not having to crane your neck down, or shoot using paintball masks or night vision, high-mounted optics are necessary. With the G36's carry handle, most optics are mounted high enough for these purposes. Moving down, we have our charging handle and fake bolt. The charging handle can be locked back to reveal your hop-up. To release it, push the button in the trigger guard. This fake bolt has 2 strong springs behind it. It's very loud, and the strongest fake bolt I've felt on any airsoft AEG. The selector is alright. It doesn't have a defined click when you change fire modes, but you can feel it stop on each mode. The distance from safe to semi is about 45 degrees, making it less distance to go from safe to semi than an M4. One quirk about it is that if the selector is stuck between fire modes, the trigger will be jammed. Simply put the selector properly on a mode, and the trigger will no longer be jammed. Not a big deal, but something to note. The pistol grip on the G36 cannot be changed, as it is a molded part of the lower. It's quite comfy, as it has no finger grooves that can dig into your hand. It also has a shallower angle than an A2 grip, meaning less strain on your wrist. The G36 uses a version 3 gearbox, so the motor angle does not depend on the grip. This allows more freedom in how shallow the angle of grips can be on guns that use version 3 gearboxes. And this one, while not interchangeable, is pretty comfortable. The gun comes with one proprietary magazine that fits into the magwell. The mag fits very tightly into the magwell and feeds perfectly. Out of the box, the G&G G36 will only take its own mags. But with some filing, it can take aftermarket G36 mags as well. If you want to see how, check out my video on how to do it. The PTS G36 midcaps are a favorite of mine. They're slimmer, fit into M4 mag pouches, and drop free easier than standard G36 mags. There is one sling point on the left side of the gun that can fit an HK hook easily. There's a sling point that can fit on the stock hinge as well, but since I bought my gun secondhand, it didn't come with it. Finally, we get to the stock. It feels very sturdy with no wobble, and it also folds to the right. It makes it easy to store, or to use in close quarters if you like running guns with no stock. The length of the stock also isn't bad. I am typically not a fan of shorter stocks that cannot adjust, as they are usually too short for a comfortable length of pull for me. But the G36C one is long enough for that. There are holes in the stock to store the pins that hold the gun together. If you need to field strip your gun, that's what they're for. And the back of the stock is rubberized, making it pretty comfortable to shoulder. So overall, the externals on this G36 are excellent. But how do the internals fare? Taking apart the G36 is much easier compared to an M4 or AK. If you want to see how it's done, check out my other video, but it's very simple. The internals of this gun are pretty great as well. The barrel is decent enough, and the bucking is G&G's green bucking. The stock hop-up chamber is metal, but I'm not sure if it's compatible with aftermarket G36 hop-up units. Gearbox internals are great as well. G&G's top tech gears are some of the strongest on the market, and the air seal was decent stock. The piston was a polymer tooth rack piston, but felt decently strong. Internally, it also came with a MOSFET. The motor is G&G's Ifrit 25K motor. It feels on par with an SHS high torque motor. It's a great motor to have stock, and I didn't feel the need to upgrade it. I've replaced the MOSFET with a Perrin V3 hybrid, and replaced the piston with an SHS full metal tooth rack piston. I've also corrected the AOE and reshimmed the gun. Everything else, I've left stock. I run this G36 on a 7.4, and I'm quite happy with the trigger response. The Perrin is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but I believe nowadays, with where technology and airsoft is at, you don't need to upgrade every single thing in a stock gun to get great trigger response. If you've been a fan of the G36 in video games, from the Modern Warfare days to the most recent Tarkov update, give the G&G G36 a try. It offers key unique advantages, like the folding stock and ergonomic handguard out of the box. And most importantly, it looks cool.